Hey guys, what's going on? We're out here at Howler Bike Park. My name's Ben. We're gonna get into how to add some style and some steeze into your ride, so let's get into it. So first thing we're kind of gonna get into is learn how to do a bar turn. This is just something to fill up your time in the air rather than just being stiff and dead sailing through the air. This will add a little bit of fill time and add a little bit of steeze into some pictures or some films. So first couple steps into learning how to do a bar turn on a jump is you're gonna find a jump that you're comfortable with, you've done multiple times, you're ready to learn something on it. So a good starting point with that is whatever foot that you have forward is typically the way that you're gonna turn your bars, whether that be left or right. It just depends on whatever you're comfortable with is what you're gonna roll with. And so when you're in the air, you're just gonna give a slight turn to the bars, and key factor is to bring it back when you're about to land. So moving on to our next trick, this is kind of gonna evolve from the bar turn. It leads up into a tabletop, which is more of an advanced trick depending on how far up you get into that tabletop position, but this evolves directly from the bar turn. So starting with the jump that you're comfortable on, this is gonna be a jump that you're easily able to do a bar turn on. Is moving on from that, you're gonna push your outside grip down kind of towards the ground, moving that grip that's closest to you up into either armpit, depending on which way that your bar turn is going. Then you're gonna add a slight bend to your knees, and at the peak of your jump is when you're gonna wanna have your bike super flat with the ground. That's the end goal with the tabletop, and as you're coming back down, it's the reverse motion that you went with, so your bike's gonna return to a normal position. So let's say we're riding down a plain trail, flat, no jumps to kind of add any style to your ride. Good personal favorite here is popping a manual. This is a simple trick. It's pretty similar to a wheelie. You're just gonna compress your front end of your bike and move your weight back over the rear wheel. This is gonna allow you to find that balance point on the rear wheel, and you're just gonna glaze on down through the trail. So a great tip while learning this trick is have your finger on the back brake covered. Maybe find that balance point where you're riding the back brake for a little bit. That'll give you a little bit of aid of getting comfortable with where that balance point is at. And then maintaining that balance point, you want to be using mostly your body weight, maybe a little bit of knees left to right for steering, but most of the time it's going to be moving your hips forward and backwards. So let's say next part of the trail, we're getting into some rock gardens. Some people love them, some people hate them. To add a little bit of style into your ride and maybe make things a little bit easier for line choice is you can kind of bunny hop into certain features that have like a back end to where you can gain some speed through a pump or anything like that. This will add a little bit of style while you're going down the trail and potentially some speed. So kind of getting into it, let's say you're approaching that rock garden. There could be a little rock or a ledge that you could potentially pop off of and gap that feature if you're wanting to skip it. And while you're in the air, you can even add a little bit of a bar turn depending on if you have the speed and the air time for that. So I'll kind of add two tricks into one and add some steeze. So hopping back into the jumps, we're gonna think of something that we could potentially throw in the air, maybe get some limbs off the bike. Real easy one that's easy for progression is just simple one-hander. As we're going on a comfortable jump, you're just gonna loosen your grip on whatever hand you feel the most comfortable with, and as you repetitively hit that jump, you're gonna loosen your grip more, eventually getting your hand further and further away from the grip until eventually you're all the way out to the side or backwards. So we're gonna finish up on probably one of the most famous mountain bike tricks that you'll see everywhere is gonna be the whip. First thing you're gonna wanna do is spot out a lip that you're gonna be able to carve and kind of add a little bit of turn up the lip. This is gonna allow the rear end to kind of come out more easily. As you're coming up the lip, your hips are gonna kind of swing out a little bit. You're gonna pull or kind of give the bars a little bit of a tug to the side to let that rear end slide out a little bit more. Keeping your head straight is gonna be important to let your bike know where to go, and landing front wheel first, obviously, so you don't tip over or anything like that. It's gonna be real important when learning this trick. So hopefully that kind of gave you some pointers of how to add some steeze and style into your ride. We'd love to see you guys out here progressing. We'd love to ride with you and see what's going on. See you guys next time.